Hello everyone. Today we're going to take a look at editing and combining shapes and paths. Let's dig right in with the eraser. And I don't find myself using the eraser much, but every once in a while it can be really handy. And so I'm going to zoom in here. I've got a view saved. So we're going to take a look at this circle that I've drawn and use the eraser on it. Let's erase the top half of it, or we could erase through the middle of it. Who knows? So the shortcut for the eraser is Shift E, and over here in the toolbox, that's what it looks like. And you'll notice the eraser, when you bring the cursor out into the image, it's got a brush size, right? You see that circle around my cursor. That's the brush size. And so I'm going to show you that you can use the bracket keys on the keyboard. Those are the two keys to the right of the P key on the keyboard. I'm hitting the left bracket key to make the eraser size smaller and the right bracket key to make it larger. Very handy. All right, so I could, just kind of run through this thing and erase a chunk of that circle. Pretty cool, huh? And so, occasionally that's the look that you want, and it's really handy. I can also, again, make the brush larger, say as large as half of the circle here. And if I hold the Shift key down, it will erase in a straight line. Did you catch that? So basically what I'm doing is putting the bottom of my eraser right next to that middle anchor point. And if I hold Shift down, it erases in a straight line across. All right, pretty handy. So, the eraser, it's pretty self-explanatory. I'm going to undo that, Command Z. So let's take a look at, I neglected to tell you guys earlier that if you get your selection tool and you select an ellipse, there's this little pie widget on the side here. So you can actually make Pac-Man shapes, like pie shapes, right? If you just grab that. And if I wanted to put that right at 180 degrees to make it totally flat across the bottom, I can kind of eyeball it and get it as close as I can, but I never seem to get it just right. But I want to point out to you over here in your Properties panel, under the Transform section, you see these little the More Options ellipsis dots. You can click on that, and one of the options is here for that pie setting for ellipses. And so here I can set it for exactly 180. So I know that it's perfectly flat across the bottom if I do that. Okay, just a little wrinkle for circles. All right, once again, I'm going to hit Command Z a couple of times to undo that. All right, so I want to show you how to select an anchor point and delete it to edit a piece. Very handy. So if I, instead of the selection tool, if I hit the A key to get the direct selection tool, remember the white key, the white arrow, that will allow me to click on a particular anchor point. Right, in this case, I'm clicking on the one on the bottom, and now I can hit the delete key on the keyboard, or the backspace key, and that anchor point and the connected paths are now gone, right? So I'm left with half a circle. Now, you can fill this half circle, right? But I'm not going to. I want to, so you can see a little easier. What I'm going to do, I'm going to click off of it to deselect that path now, and I'm going to click and drag a selection window using the direct selection tool, the white arrow, the editing arrow. And now I've got just those two bottom anchor points selected. Can you see that? They're both filled in, meaning they're selected. The one up top here is not filled in, so it's not selected. Make sense? All right, with just those two selected, I can hit Command J on my keyboard. That's the shortcut to join two points with a path in between. Make sense? I think it's really, to me, this is a really intuitive way to edit shapes and modify them by cutting anchor points and joining the ones that I need to form the shape that I want. Okay. All right. So there you have it. Let's take a look at the scissors and the knife tool. The shortcut for the scissors tool is C, right? I remember that, C for cut. And what this allows you to do, like I'm going to hold down the Command key and click on my square down here, and the cut tool allows me to come over to, right, an anchor point, and oops, sorry. Oh, it's telling me use the scissors on a segment or an anchor point, but not on an end point of a path. Okay, I think that what's going on here is when I was setting up earlier, I already cut this apart, right? You see that? So what I'm going to do, I'll put it back. Watch this. I'm going to get the direct select tool again, the white arrow. I'm going to click and drag over both of those anchor points, right? Like I had cut them apart beforehand. You see that? And what I'm going to do is put them back together. So if I put them right over the top of each other, and then I click and drag over that spot, I can hit Command J to join them back together, right? And so now if I click on that point, they move together. You see that? All right, so mistake number one on my part. Okay, so now they're joined together. Let me cut them apart. Again, the C key is the shortcut for the scissors tool. If I click on that anchor point, magically now, they're separate. You see that? So I've cut them apart. All right, so I can make an interesting shape there. In fact, it may be a little easier. Let me just get rid of that fill so you can see that a little better. They've been cut apart. You see that? So let's say again, I want to join them back together. If I click and drag, like so, I can hit Command. What's the shortcut again? Command what? Or Control? Command Control J. Right? So Command J with a Mac, Control J with a PC. And so I've joined them back together. All right. So scissors tool allows you to cut not just on an anchor point, right? You can cut along the path as well. And again, I'm holding the Command key down or Control on a PC to, right? Okay. Oops. Got the wrong, there we go. Line them up. Well, anyway, so you get the idea. You can cut them apart and then use Command J or Control J to join them back together. All right, so let's take a look at the knife tool. The knife tool doesn't have a shortcut. And again, to be honest with you, I don't use it that often, but it can come in handy. Like if I wanted to kind of cut this thing with a wavy line, I can use the knife tool to cut through it. And then when I get the selection tool out, I can pull those things apart, right? Pretty groovy. I can also use the knife tool to cut in a straight line. There's a bit of a wrinkle to this. instead of just, usually you just hold the shift key down to cut something, but in this case with a knife tool, you option shift, click, and drag. Oops, gotta have the knife tool selected. There it is. Option shift, click, and drag, and it'll cut in a straight line, right? There you go. So again, you can take simple shapes and using these editing tools, you can make them more complex. All right, so let's go to the Pathfinder and its functions. Now, anytime you click on a shape, if you look in your properties panel, there's going to be the Pathfinder is going to show up over here. Now, some of you may have some panels docked to the side here, and one of those can be the Pathfinder. In fact, if you go to your window menu, you can look for any one of these panels, right, and open them up. All right, so when you're in doubt, if you can't find what you're looking for, go to the window menu. That's where you'll find your panels. All right, so but right here are the basic Pathfinders available to you in your property panel all the time. So let's say I want to make a donut shape. I've got this larger circle and a smaller circle inside it. If I select them both and come over here to the Pathfinders, this one right here it says click to exclude. So that's going to exclude the overlapping shape, right? So if I click there, now the shape in the center has been basically excluded from the larger one. Now, there's a subtle difference between this and making a compound shape. And so I'll show you how to make a compound shape right quick. So if I undo that and select them both again, you can go to the Object menu and come down here and choose Compound Path, Make. And the shortcut for that is Command Control 8, right? Command 8 on a Mac, Control 8 on a PC. It essentially does the same thing, but there's no longer like this loose operation that's still involved in the mathematics. This is like a completed shape, right? But I mean, you can undo that. Like if you go back to Object and choose Compound Path, you can release it. See that? Anyway, so select them both, Command 8 or Control 8 on a PC. Then you get your donut shape, right? Can be very handy. All right, let's take a look at this one, intersect shapes. I've got two circles overlapping each other. If I select them both and come over here to my Pathfinders, this guy right here, click to intersect. If I click on that, only the areas that are overlapping will be left. Okay. There you go. All right, so this wrench shape, this is just a rectangle with a couple of circles that I've joined together, but I'm gonna subtract these two rounded rectangles from it to complete it. Okay, so if I click on all of these shapes, they're all selected. Go to my Pathfinder called minus front. See that? Me right there. Click it, and I've completed the wrench shape. And then finally here we've got this spray can shape that I've put together. I'm selecting all those shapes, and the first Pathfinder is the Unite Pathfinder, and you click it and they're all united. All right, pretty cool, huh? So next I'm going to show you how to use the Shape Builder tool to do some of these same operations. But again, I just wanted to put this in your head that you're not stuck with all these simple shapes in Illustrator take those simple shapes and make them more complex. Draw what you need to, starting with simple shapes and then modifying them with these tools that I've shown you to really push your ability to draw in this environment. Okay, there you have it. Take care. I'll talk to you soon.